Donkey Kong is here because today we're going to review Donkey Kong for your Intellivision with a box that says it plays like the real arcade game. Yeah, right. Let's go ahead and take Donkey Kong, pop it in my Intellivision and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Donkey Kong was published by Coleco and carries a copyright year of 1982. It is based on the 1981 Nintendo arcade game. According to the manual, Donkey Kong has stolen Mario's girlfriend and is taking her to the top of the Steel Fortress. Now Mario must climb to the top of the ramps to save her while jumping over or avoiding the barrels that Donkey Kong hurls down at him, and then knock out the rivets on the next structure to save her. Donkey Kong is a platform arcade style game for 1 or 2 players alternating and has 4 levels of difficulty. During the game, you press left and right on the disc to move likewise, up and down on the disc to climb ladders, and press the side buttons to jump. Be sure to remember that since the game did not come with an overlay. You can also jump and grab a hammer that will temporarily crush your enemies for points, but you cannot climb ladders until the hammer disappears after grabbing it. Just like the Atari 2600 version of the game, which I reviewed in episode 208, Donkey Kong on the Intellivision only contains 2 levels from the arcade game. The ramp level, where Mario must avoid barrels while making his way to the top, and the rivet stage, where Mario must remove all the rivets by walking or jumping over them while avoiding fireballs and gaps left behind by missing rivets. After the rivet screen, you loop back to the ramp screen. You get 3 lives and lose a life if you touch an enemy, open gap, fall too far, or if the timer runs out. Scoring wise, you get 100 points for jumping over a barrel or a fireball or eliminating a rivet, 200 points for jumping over 2 barrels at the same time, and 300 points for smashing a barrel or fireball with your hammer, or grabbing one of your girlfriend's accessories that she has left scattered throughout the rivet level. Slob. You also get bonus points depending on how quickly you finish the level, with the first level starting at 6,000 points that decrease as time goes on, and the bonus timer increasing 500 extra points per level until it reaches a maximum of 8,000 points. Graphically speaking, the levels themselves don't look too bad, but the characters are pretty awful, with Mario looking like an overweight version of Dewey from the TV show Malcolm in the Middle, Donkey Kong looking like a smiley face made out of mutated sludge, and Mario's girlfriend looking like a melted amiibo. Sound and music wise, the sound effects are not that great, and the sound of Mario movie might even be grating to some. And the stages contain no background music, but instead there are little ditties that play in between levels that really are not that impressive. Family friendly wise, I would assume this game would get an E for everyone rating if released today, since it's Donkey Kong. At the time, my research on eBay, including shipping, loose copies were going for $4 to $5, complete copies were going for $9 to $11, and new copies were selling for $14 to $20. But there were also several unsold copies at sometimes cheaper prices than the going rate. So what did I think of Donkey Kong on the Intellivision? Well, before reviewing the game, I've heard that this is basically the worst game on the system and a complete horror to play. I will say that I think it's a little better than its reputation, but not by much. I was disappointed by both the graphics and sound, knowing that the Intellivision could definitely pull it off better. And I can also kind of forgive the game for only having 2 levels, since that is what the 2600 version has as well, but my gut tells me they could have fit in a 3rd level if they really tried. And there were some bugs in the game, as one time I jumped over a rivet, but it didn't get removed. But the biggest problem with the game is the controls. Jumps have to be performed well in advance to successfully go over barrels, and if you ever have to run away from a barrel that comes down a ladder right next to you, there's almost nothing you can do due to the delay in jumping. But the most frustrating aspect for me was the fact that you have to push the disc perfectly left, right, up, or down in order to move. If you're slightly off, Mario just stands there. For a controller that can go in 16 directions, having to be this perfect is quite frustrating, as there are many times Mario stops since I was just slightly off. This also gets doubly frustrating with the ladder, since you have to be perfectly aligned with them in order to climb them. So if you're just a little bit to the left or right of the ladder, or if you're pressing a little bit to the left or right on the disc while pressing down, once again, Mario turns into a frozen statue. For a game that requires split-second decisions, a little more forgiveness in the control scheme would have really helped. In the end, this is a game I could have played if I owned an Intellivision growing up and a copy of the game, but nowadays there really isn't much reason to play this version anymore, as even the 2600 version is more enjoyable. And it does not work with the Intellivision 2 system, which might be a blessing in disguise for Intellivision 2 owners. So where am I going to rank Donkey Kong on the Intellivision? Well, this one's going to be pretty easy. I've only ranked 3 other games, all of which are recommended for Intellivision owners. So Donkey Kong is going all the way to the bottom and might be staying there for a long time. So while I don't think Donkey Kong is quite as bad as its reputation, nor do I believe in the rumor that Coleco made it bad on purpose to sell their own ColecoVision system, I will say that it is one of the worst games on the Intellivision I ever played. Is it the worst? We'll find out as I continue to review more games for the Intellivision. So what do you think of the game? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons and follow me both on the Facebook and the Twitter. I'm also a member of the Retro Junkies Network. At this time, I'd like to thank Richard the Prisoner for supporting the show at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you, Prisoner. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care and go play some Donkey Kong on some other system.